Okay, guys, I will be explaining Cardano, so that you can actually understand what Cardano is all about. As you can see, the price of Cardano is almost 50 cents, and by the end of the video, you will be able to come to a point where you are able to make a decision for yourself. Now, let's talk about Cardano. Now, first of all, I want to make this very clear. Every cryptocurrency out there is unique in themselves. There are people who are going there saying this is called Ethereum killer, this is called EOS, this is this. Every of them, EOS, IOTA, Ethereum, Universal, HDAC, ARC, all of them are unique in their own selves. Now, the first platform to utilize this blockchain protocols and the rest of the technology is a Bitcoin. Now, they have their own issues and the rest of them. Ethereum came to solve a very unique problem in itself. Now you can liken Ethereum just like if Bitcoin is to the fintech, to disrupt the fintech space. What Ethereum is like the JavaScript of Ethereum is like the JavaScript of the blockchain. So with Ethereum, we are able to build decentralized applications for the first time, which was not possible with other platforms like the JavaScript and the rest of them, right? Now, we'll be talking about the problems these systems currently have, and then how do we solve the problems. Now, there are three problems the system currently have. One of the first problem is the issue of scalability, and then you have the issue of interoperability. Then you now have the issue of sustainability. So let's talk about the issue of scalability. Now, you have to understand that just like the internet, where you have different platforms, the same internet you're having, Facebook, Google, you have, I think I don't know how many websites there are currently, but there are billions of websites around the world, and each of these websites are offering something very unique. Though they may be offering different websites may offer something very unique. The same, but they are offering something very unique. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of them, the more people uses this system, as you are seeing, cryptocurrencies is actually gaining mainstream media. You can see on CNN, you see on Bloomberg, you see on CBS, you see on CNBC, and many of these channels, Facebook, the grandpa telling the young kids telling the grandpa, and many other projects coming in the rest. You see schools talking about, there are some schools like there's a Bulgaria university that actually gave students the option to that they're giving them a scholarship for 1,000 euros, and they have the option of choosing to receive it in Bitcoin or in euros. So you are seeing schools, there are different schools like MIT securing the degrees, their diplomas in the blockchain, and you see different schools offering courses in cryptocurrencies and the other source. So this thing is actually gaining attention. There is gaining attention all over the world. Now, you agree with me that the people who are currently in the crypto space are 90% of them, which is a large chunk of them, are actually there for the gains, because they see that with cryptocurrency, if you see this coin now, how much was this coin? As you can see, it's around 3 cents, 3 cents, and then the price is almost 50 cents. So people are there for the gains. Most of people don't even know what this thing is all about. They don't even know the blockchain. They don't understand the many stuff. So as this thing is actually gaining traction, the more and more people are beginning to use this stuff, the system gets crowded. So, like, if you want to process it, if you want to compare Bitcoin or Ethereum to a platform like Visa or MasterCard and the rest of them, you discover that these guys, they run transactions per second in hundreds of transactions per second, or sometimes tens of transactions per second, tens of thousands of transactions per second. But with Bitcoin, it's not so. 7 transactions per second is not sustainable for the system. Now, another thing again with the issue of scalability with this current platforms is the issue of the network or the bandwidth. So the more people are using these systems, the more it takes time to actually process this thing. So it requires more bandwidth. Then another problem again with the system is we're having different blocks, and these blocks are linked together, and there is the possibility that these things will stay in the system forever. Now, if this thing will stay in the system forever, you're not having large stack of data. You are seeing from kilobytes to is building up, piling up, and we can get to points where petabytes, zettabytes, and the rest of them. So it's not really sustainable. Now, what will Cardano do? Cardano is bringing a system called the Ouroboros. Now, this Ouroboros is a probably secure proof of stake model. Now, unlike Bitcoin that actually takes large chunk of energy, because I think now it takes about $300 to actually keep the system running. Is it per hour or per seconds? I don't really know. So it's not really energy efficient and environmentally friendly per se. This system has been tested. It was the code and everything was submitted at Crypto 17, and not only was it submitted as Crypto 17, this system is quantum resistant. So pay attention to that. And this system is using something they call the PSI calculus, and the PSI calculus is machine understandable. Note that. And what this thing is actually doing, the code, the SI code that is submitted at GitHub will be running the same thing as the code that was actually implemented on the platform. So this is the first of its kind. It's very unique in its own system. So okay, let's talk about the Ouroboros system, which is the probably proof of stake. What this thing is going to do, instead of having miners, it's going to have what they call slot leaders. And if you know something they call the series, when you have a series, maybe it's something that looks like a general series, where you have x1, x2, x3, then dot 3, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, x plus 4. So what this system is going to have is going to have such systems, and you have a slot leader, and this slot leader can be also have a kind of other parallel chains and the rest of them. And the network is using something they call the recursive internetwork architecture. Okay, let's talk about how Cardano will now be solving the issues of data. So there are different ways you can actually solve the issue of data. We have the pruning. Then you have the compressing, when you're trying to compress this thing to make it maybe in small sizes. Then you have subscriptions. With subscriptions, Cardano seeks to bring, there are already issues like side chains and the rest of them. Then you have partitioning. So partitioning has to do with, instead of replicating this data over and over again and taking more and more space, why not just partition it, keep certain part of this data in certain parts or in different repository in the rest of them. Then another thing again with this current blockchain systems are the issue of interoperability. So with the issue of interoperability, let's take for example that you have the traditional banking systems which uses the SWIFT protocols and the other protocols per se. Now you now have Bitcoin having their own technology. Then you have Ethereum. Then you have the Ripple network. Then you have other blockchains. Now the question is, are they really interoperable? They are not really interoperable per se. Now let's take for example, you actually conducted an ICO, and conducting this ICO, they send large amount of money to your account, and for you to actually cash that money, because you need the money in dollars or whatever currency you are using, your banks will ask you for certain questions like, where did you get this money from? Who gave you all this money? And you say, I got the money from the internet. How did you get the money from the internet? That I did fundraising and some other stuff. So, and the bank will not really allow you, because the bank is under some regulations. Maybe if they're the EU, they regulate them, and the central bank and some other stuff. So what about if we bring a system where the people who are actually sending these tokens, these things have some metadata and some other stuffs. So then Cardano is talking about the issue of, I'm running out of time now. Cardano is talking about the issue of metadata. So with metadata, there's an info about a transaction. Currently, there are infos about transaction, but the question is, to what extent is the info? Who gets access to this info? So what about if you bring a system where we define who can get access to an information and how much information they can actually get? That is what Cardano is trying to set protocols to actually solve such a problem. Then the other issue is the attribution. So attribution has to do with knowing the identity of the owners, then knowing where this money is coming from, and then also knowing where this thing is going to. So just like your normal bank transactions, where if you are moving money around from one bank to another, or a company is moving money around from one company to another, this thing will be able is being tracked. They want to make this thing so, because if cryptocurrencies are to be adopted at the large scale, these things have to be put there. Then another issue again is the issue of compliance. So with the issue of compliance has to do with now anti-terrorism funding, because there are issues where, like at the International Monetary Fund, where they are saying Bitcoin is being used to fund terrorism or do some other stuff. Some people are saying Bitcoin is being used to actually help with child trafficking and some other stuff. So how do we stop such things? The issues of compliance now comes in. Then compliance has to do with all this ATF, which is an anti-terrorism funding. Then you have KYC, know your customer, and then ML, anti-money laundering, and some other sorts. Now, let's go to the issue of sustainability. Now, you have to know that when the issue of sustainability, blockchain projects per se, most of these things are not really company. So the issue now comes with the issue of Patreon. If we say let's have a Patreon where you subscribe and you pay a certain amount of money to keep this thing running, these people may have too much power on the system, and the issue of decentralization is taking off the system. It becomes centralized. It's not a very, very sustainable one. Then you have the issues of ICO. So, but ICO is like trying to pour in large amount of money into the system to actually fund the project. But at the long run, this money is not really, cannot really take this thing for a long time. Now, what about if we design a system that uses a kind of treasury that, let's say, prints out money or mines some coins, and these coins, they keep it in a decentralized bank account. Now, keeping this money in the decentralized bank account will not then, if there is a project to actually come up, and maybe they want to fund a project, they will be able to say, okay, let's vote on the project using some systems like some incentives and some other protocols to say, okay, this is how we want to fund this project and the other stuff. Now, that is for how do we pay for things. Now the question is, where should we go? In the issue of sustainability, you've seen like Bitcoin, you have Bitcoin Cash, and some other guys coming to say that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin and the other stuff, and this is something that is causing problem in the crypto community. And then you now have Ethereum having Ethereum Classic and the other stuff. Now, you already know that these things are not really, if this system continues like this, it should not be very good. No? So if a system wants to do such things, you have the forks, a soft fork or the hard fork. Any of these things, they are not really sustainable. What about if we implement a system that uses something that looks like the constitution model? Just like in America, though every country, though they change the constitution, but the constitution is not changed often. That, okay, you are saying if we're changing the constitution, like you want to change the constitution of a coin, let's split the country. No, you're not going to split the country. So they want to use this constitution model. I'm running out of time, sorry. Then another thing again about they want to bring in, Cardano is trying to build a kind of platform that is machine understandable. So it's the first of its kind to actually build a system that is machine understandable, and you can see everything. You can build decentralized applications. They have that data loss and many other stuff. So guys, that is all I have to say about Cardano. I don't know if I actually made a very, very good video, and they are part of this Emogo. So do have a very, very good day.